Welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah.
Today, we're going to be taking a deep dive into the world of beavers
Beavers.
and their surprising role in combating climate change.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Our main source today is this captivating YouTube video from Terramator
Oh, yeah, I've seen that one.
called "This Beaver Dam is so huge you can see it from space,"
It is massive.
with a little subtitle, Climate Heroes.
Climate heroes, love it.
And you're going to be amazed by what we uncovered today.
I think so.
I think so, too.
You might already know beavers for, like, their dam building skills.
Of course.
But did you know that they're really capturing the attention of scientists
It's pretty amazing.
and even NASA?
Wow.
Their impact on the environment goes way beyond just those dams.
That's right. It seems like everywhere you look these days, there's another headline about beavers
I know,
being
right?
hailed as climate heroes.
It's true.
But how did these unassuming rodents
Yeah.
earn such a prestigious title?
Well, it's a fascinating story. And it really starts with their remarkable engineering abilities.
For sure.
You've probably seen pictures of those impressive dams.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But get this, there's a beaver dam in Canada.
Okay.
So massive, it's visible from space.
Hold on. A beaver dam visible from space.
Yeah.
That's mind-blowing.
It is.
And we're talking satellite imagery, right?
Absolutely. This colossal structure is twice the length of the Hoover Dam.
Wow.
It showcases the power of nature and these little creatures' dedication to their craft.
I'm picturing this massive dam, and I'm wondering how they even pull it off.
Right.
What goes into building one of these natural wonders?
Well, they use a combination of sticks, mud, rocks,
Okay.
and they're incredibly strong teeth.
Sure.
We're talking 3 times stronger than any other mammal of their size.
Wow.
It's quite a toolkit.
Talk about making the most of what you got.
I know, right?
But why go through all this trouble?
Yeah.
What's the driving force behind their dam building obsession?
Well, it all boils down to survival. Okay. And creating the ideal beaver habitat
Gotcha.
by slowing down water flow.
Yeah.
Dams transform streams into ponds and wetlands.
Right.
These wetlands act as a safe haven, offering protection from predators and easier access to food and building materials.
So it's like their own custom-designed, eco-friendly fortress and grocery store rolled into one.
Yeah, pretty much.
I can see why they're so committed to the project.
Exactly. And we're not just talking about small-scale modifications here.
Okay.
The largest beaver dam ever recorded created a pond holding a staggering 70,000 cubic meters of water.
Wow.
That's the equivalent of 1,600 hockey rinks.
Whoa, that's an incredible feat of engineering.
Yeah.
To think all that from a creature that's, what, 2 feet tall on a good day?
I felt that, yeah.
But this story goes even deeper, right?
Right.
They weren't always celebrated
Yeah.
as ecosystem engineers.
That's true. Their journey is one of resilience and a remarkable comeback.
Yeah.
In North America, they were nearly hunted to extinction in the 19th century
Wow.
for their fur and a substance called castoreum, used in perfumes and medicines.
It's a sad reminder of how human actions can have such a devastating impact on wildlife.
It is, but fortunately, conservation efforts started to turn the tide.
Okay.
In 1948,
Yeah.
Idaho took a bold step, deciding to relocate beavers to remote areas instead of killing them.
Okay.
And get this, they did it by parachute.
Wait, they parachuted beavers into the wilderness? That sounds a bit out there, even for a deep dive.
Oh, I know.
How did that even work?
It sounds crazy, but it's true.
Wow.
They carefully placed 76 beavers in wooden boxes and dropped them into the Chamberlain Basin, a remote area in need of ecological restoration.
Okay.
Amazingly, all but one of the beavers survived the jump.
Those beavers must have some serious survival instincts.
They
But
do.
what was the long-term impact of this unusual relocation effort?
Well, that's where things get really fascinating. Decades later, NASA satellite images revealed a remarkable transformation in the Chamberlain Basin. The areas populated by those parachuted beavers had become noticeably lusher and greener.
So these little dam builders had a significant impact on the entire ecosystem just by doing what comes naturally to them.
Exactly. And it wasn't just about aesthetics.
Okay.
Studies showed that the presence of beavers in the Chamberlain Basin increased plant diversity by 1/3 and even made the area more resilient to forest fires.
So they're not just ecosystem engineers, they're like accidental superheroes,
I like that.
protecting the environment in ways we're just beginning to understand.
Yeah, absolutely.
But how does all of this tie into climate change? That seems like a big leap.
It's not as far-fetched as you might think.
Okay.
This is where things get really interesting.
All right.
Imagine those beaver dams not just as individual structures, but as part of a larger interconnected system that helps regulate water flow. Now think about how important water management is in the context of climate change.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
Climate change brings more extreme weather events, like intense rainfall
For sure.
and prolonged droughts.
Right.
And beaver dams can act as natural buffers against these extremes,
Yeah,
right?
you're absolutely right. They act as natural flood control,
Okay.
helping to slow down and spread out water flow during heavy rainfall.
Right.
This reduces the risk of destructive flooding, which is becoming more frequent with climate change.
That makes sense. But what about during those extended dry spells that are also becoming more common?
Right.
What role do beavers play then?
Their impact on water availability goes even further.
Okay.
The ponds and wetlands they create act as natural reservoirs, storing water during dry periods.
Oh, okay.
This benefits not just the beavers themselves,
Yeah.
but also the surrounding plants, animals, and even human communities.
So they're increasing the overall resilience of the ecosystem to both floods and droughts.
Yeah.
Which is essential in a changing climate.
Absolutely.
And I'm curious, is their impact limited to just water management?
Not at all. Remember those wetlands we talked about?
Yeah.
They're not just biodiversity hotspots and water storage units.
Okay.
They're incredibly efficient carbon sinks.
Now remind me how that works.
Sure.
I know wetlands are important, but I need a refresher on the carbon capture part.
So wetlands, especially those created by beavers, excel at trapping and storing carbon from the atmosphere.
Okay.
The plants in these wetlands absorb carbon dioxide during photosynthesis.
Right.
And when they die and decompose, that carbon gets locked away in the wet, oxygen-poor soil, preventing it from being released back into the atmosphere.
Okay, so it's like a natural carbon capture and storage system.
Exactly.
Powered by beavers.
That's pretty amazing.
It is pretty cool.
How does this natural method compare to what humans are trying to achieve with carbon capture technology?
Yeah.
Is it even in the same ballpark?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And one that scientists are actively studying.
Okay.
While we've made significant progress in developing carbon capture technologies, nature has been perfecting its own methods for millennia. Wetlands are some of the most effective carbon sinks on the planet.
Right.
And beavers play a key role in creating and maintaining these vital ecosystems.
So they're contributing to climate change mitigation on multiple fronts. Regulating water flow, boosting biodiversity, and storing carbon. It's like they had a superpower for every challenge climate change throws our way.
They really do.
But let's shift gears for a moment
Okay.
and talk about another fascinating aspect of their lives.
Okay.
Their lodges.
Oh, yeah.
They're not just random piles of sticks, right?
Absolutely not. Beaver lodges are surprisingly sophisticated structures, reflecting their deep understanding of their environment. They're designed with both comfort and security in mind.
Okay.
And their construction is surprisingly complex. I'm picturing those classic dome-shaped structures rising out of the water.
Yeah.
What are some of the design features that make them so ingenious?
Well, they have underwater entrances for protection from predators.
Oh, smart.
Which also helps regulate temperature.
Okay.
They often have multiple rooms or chambers for different purposes, like sleeping, raising young.
Gotcha.
And even a dedicated mudroom to help keep things clean.
Wow, that's very organized.
Right.
And the roof is typically loosely constructed to allow for ventilation.
Right. Good airflow.
Wow, it sounds like a cozy, sustainable off-grid home, perfectly adapted to their needs. They were way ahead of the tiny house movement. But their impact goes beyond just their own families, right?
You're absolutely right. Their lodge building activities have positive ripple effects throughout the ecosystem.
Okay.
The channels they create to transport materials increase biodiversity. And their abandoned lodges often provide homes for other species, like muskrats, otters, or even birds looking for a nesting site.
So they're not just building dams and lodges, they're building communities.
Yeah.
And enriching the entire ecosystem.
Yeah.
And to think all of this was nearly lost when they were hunted to near extinction.
It's a stark reminder of how delicate the balance of nature can be.
Yeah.
And how human actions can have both positive and negative consequences.
For sure.
We almost lost these incredible creatures, but we've learned to appreciate their value and work to restore their populations.
It's an inspiring story of resilience and the potential for positive change.
It is.
It makes you wonder What other unsung heroes might be out there in the natural world quietly working to keep our planet healthy?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
There's so much we're still learning about the intricate web of life
Hmm.
and the surprising ways different species contribute to the overall health of the planet.
Right.
Beavers are just one example of how nature has its own solutions
Yeah.
to many of the challenges we face today.
It's a powerful reminder to pay attention, listen to what nature's telling us,
Absolutely.
and learn from these incredible creatures.
Exactly. And sometimes it even means admitting we were wrong.
Oh.
Remember those parachuting beavers?
Oh, yeah.
While well-intentioned, that approach isn't exactly standard practice today.
Okay.
We've learned that there are gentler and safer ways to relocate beavers.
I'm glad to hear that. So how are humans and beavers working together today to restore damaged ecosystems?
Yeah.
And what have we learned from past mistakes?
That's a great segue into the next part of our deep dive,
Okay.
where we'll explore the fascinating world of beaver-assisted restoration
Right.
and the lessons we're learning from these incredible creatures.
Well, I'm hooked.
Great.
Stay tuned as we continue our deep dive into the world of beavers
Yeah.
and discover how these unlikely heroes are helping to shape a more sustainable future for us all.
It's going to be great.
I think so too.
I'm excited.
Me too.
Welcome back to the deep dive.
So before the break, we were just starting to uncover the amazing ways humans are now partnering with beavers to restore damaged ecosystems.
Yeah, it's quite a shift
Amazing.
from seeing them as pests
Right.
to recognizing them as valuable allies.
It's amazing how our perspective can change when we take the time to really understand the role a species plays
Absolutely.
in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
So how did this shift toward beaver-assisted restoration come about?
Well, as we learned about the incredible benefits beavers bring to their environments, from water management to carbon storage,
Right.
it became clear that they could be a powerful force for ecological restoration. Instead of fighting against their natural instincts, what if we could work with them?
Right.
That was the question a lot of scientists and conservationists started asking.
So it's like harnessing the power of nature
Exactly.
for our own benefit.
Yeah.
But how does it actually work in practice? Do we just release a bunch of beavers
Right.
into a degraded area and hope for the best?
Well, it's a bit more involved than that. Beaver relocation projects require careful planning and a deep understanding of beaver behavior and habitat needs.
Okay.
It's not a one-size-fits-all approach.
I imagine there are a lot of factors to consider.
Uh-huh.
What are some of the key elements of a successful beaver relocation project?
Well, first and foremost, you need to assess the suitability of the site.
Okay.
Not every location is ideal for beavers.
Right.
You need to consider things like water availability, food sources, and the presence of suitable vegetation for dam building.
So it's like finding the perfect piece of real estate
Exactly.
for a very discerning client.
Yeah, pretty much.
What else is important?
Community involvement is also crucial.
Oh.
It's important to engage with local communities.
Yeah.
And address any concerns they might have about reintroducing beavers to the area.
Makes sense.
After all, beavers can be quite industrious.
Yeah.
And their activities can sometimes conflict with human interests.
I can imagine some people might be worried about flooding.
Sure.
Or damage to property.
Yeah.
How do you address those concerns?
Open communication and collaboration are key.
Sorry.
Sometimes it involves making modifications to the landscape.
Okay.
Like installing flow devices to regulate water levels or using fencing to protect sensitive areas.
So it's all about finding solutions that work for both beavers and people.
Exactly.
So it's a delicate balancing act.
It can be.
But it sounds like the potential benefits are worth the effort.
They certainly are.
Yeah.
We've seen some remarkable successes with beaver-assisted restoration projects around the world.
That's great.
Degraded streams have been revitalized, wetlands have been restored, and biodiversity has flourished.
Do you have any specific examples that come to mind?
Absolutely. One project that stands out is the restoration of Bridge Creek in Oregon.
Okay.
The creek had been channelized and straightened for agricultural purposes, which led to habitat degradation and a decline in fish populations.
So it's the classic case of human intervention disrupting the natural flow of things.
Exactly. But then they reintroduced beavers to the area.
Okay.
And the transformation was astonishing.